Hey everyone, and welcome to Heather Carlson Psychic Medium. I'm actually doing my first deck review. I was fortunate enough to get a beautiful deck just this past holidays, a few days ago, from a very good friend of mine, Andrea. So thank you, darling, if you're watching this. And it was a deck that I had seen and I had handled a bit, and I knew that I needed to have it. I'm kind of funny in that I can look at the pictures, but until I've actually handled the deck, I'm really not sure. I do work psychically and intuitively, so sometimes that context and that touch is part of it. And I'm also, I don't know till I've actually touched it, shuffled it, taken it out of the box. So I really appreciate these unboxings and reviews. So I'm reviewing today. This is the Everyday Tarot. So it is, and I heard about it on the biddytarot.com website. And so this is a deck that she is promoting, and it is www.runningpress.com. And it says it's a modern approach, the ancient wisdom of tarot. It's very affordably priced as tarot cards go. So US pricing is $12.95. Canadian pricing is only $16.50. That's about as cheap as a tarot deck is going to get. Most of them are 30 plus. So it comes in this cute little box. And the top and bottom have this see-through box. So your cards actually just fit right inside of it. And then there is also a little book opening. And this is where the accompanying, here, I'll see if I can do this in such a way so that you can see it. This is where the accompanying book, there is a little sleeve here. Don't try and do things backwards on camera. It just fits right in. So the whole thing just closes up. I love it. So it's great for keeping in a car, being carried in a purse, etc. Okay, and it is a fairly sturdy box, black and gold and white. It's very simple colors, but very pretty. So it kind of looks modern, but it's got sort of a richness to it because of the gold. So it's a great size deck. So this is the back detail. It's got the 4 suits, the cups, the pentacles, the swords, and the wands are listed on the back in the picture. And the size is fantastic because as you can see, the palm of my hand, it is quite small. It's nice. They're not mini, but they are slightly smaller than a standard deck. And as tarot decks go, they're significantly smaller. So this is a standard Rider-Waite deck. And you can see they're almost, not quite, they're about 2/3 the size. So, and then there are a lot of tarots out in the market that are quite a bit larger. A lot of the Oracle decks will be quite a bit larger as well. So this is one of my favorite personal decks. This is the Good Tarot, and it is absolutely almost double the size. Now, I don't use this for customers because it is so big. I choose for my customers to do some shuffling to put their energy into it before their readings. Not all readers do. But in my case, I do. And so my customers would have way too much difficulty with this. So this is a personal deck for me. So I really like the size of this thing. Great cardstock, nice firm cards, as well as the box. And then I also like, before I get into the cards, that there's this extra little add-on card that just has some really simple ideas for 1 and 3 card pulls. A lot of people, I like this deck, and I will get into why. For both novices, newbies, like if you've never read, this is actually a deck you could work with, as well as people like myself who are longtime readers, because I think it works for both groups and everything in between. And not all decks are like that. So this one, it just gives you a couple ideas. You don't have to start with full spreads. You know, if you're new, or even myself, I do 1 and 3 card check-ins on a daily basis all the time or on a weekly basis. So these are some great ideas. And she just does 3 card spreads, past, present, future, situation, problem, action, you, me, us, option A, option B, how to decide. Really straightforward and simple. So let's get to the cards. So these are a few of them. So this is one of my favorites. This is the Moon card. And you can see it's very simplistic and modern in its coloring, but it's keeping sort of that really linear design. So it's, you know, it's got a lot of the standard art of the Rider-Waite style decks, you know, very standard. You'll see the crab on the moon. You've got the moon. You've got the two towers that are also listed in the High Priestess. And then you've got the wolf and the dog baying at the moon. So that's a pretty standard, but the way this has been done, it's quite simple. Now, it's funny. I am a reader that loves colored decks because I use some of the hues of the color as part of my reading. So, you know, I use Shadowscapes. I use the Good Tarot. I am a Rider-Waite fan. I'm totally on the Rider-Waite scale. And there's some beautiful decks out there. Line Strider is one that I can think of, or the Wild Unknown Tarot, which are beautiful decks, but I personally don't connect with them because I need that color when I'm looking at large spreads. And what I found interesting is this deck doesn't have those color differentials, but I still like working with it. So I found that interesting because that goes against my typical. So I find that, you know, it's just simple and straight, but it gets the messages across of the purposes and the meanings of the cards. So here's another one, the Ten of Pentacles. So this is a card, you know, the Ten of Pentacles, of course, means abundance, and they've done the pentacles in the archway. But again, it's a family shopping. It's security. I like that as simplistic and, you know, linear as the pictures are, they actually do depict and speak to what the meaning of the card is, which I think is fantastic. I have a lot of difficulty personally, and anybody new would have a lot of difficulty reading a card that, you know, there aren't sort of reminders and I use it not so much as a reminder for myself, but when I'm explaining to my customers, I want that card to show a picture of some of the context of what the card means. So I do find them quite beautiful. Here we go. I like this. Again, the Ten of Wands. You know, so Wands is our suit of action energy. And this card, you know, really speaks to being overburdened. And it's funny, when I was gifted it, my good friend and I were speaking, and she noted that the wands are two different colors, so that the burdens are from several different places. And that, you know, we each have our own different burdens. So some of the things that you notice in different decks, I find so fascinating. So absolutely love this deck for a beginner or for a long time reader. This is a great carry in your car, carry in your purse for those of us that are pros, but a really good starter deck. I love that the book that comes with it, small, it fits in the box. It's very straightforward. It's got a very simple table of contents, major arcana, minor arcana, and our 4 suits, and which pages to go to. So if you are someone that doesn't automatically know the order of the suits, this saves you a ton of time because a lot of the books overlook this. And then what I also particularly love about this deck, and some decks will put a lot of detail into the major arcana and not a lot of detail into the minor arcana. These each have their own little page. It's equal, which is great because they come up with the same regularity in our readings. But I like that this little book doesn't say it has just enough. It's got upright and reversed. So the choice is there for the reader, whether they wish to read it that way. Now, personally, I do not. I read upright only because I know the full content of the card. And so I know what the positive and negative, depending on the card, aspects of the card are. And I use my psychic and intuitive abilities to determine which are relevant to that particular reading. But what I do like particularly about the book that accompanies this deck, and it's somewhat unusual, is that if you choose not to read reversed, and like me, you instead choose to read upright only, I like that you can actually read the whole as an entirety, and it shows both aspects of the card. And so it really gives additional meaning to a reader that chooses not to do reversed readings. So most books do not read that way, but this one, I feel like it reads that there's both aspects that need to be considered. So I really like that, especially for a new reader. So it all comes in, it all pops into this nice box. Shuffles. Now, if you are a split and fan shuffler, and I've got my camera up, so you're not going to be able to see this. It does fan shuffle quite nicely. Now, when you first get this deck, the cardstock is quite thick. So I will say that you're going to have some card sticking problems. I'm just going to warn you, the first few readings, you want to shuffle the heck out of this deck when you first get it to start to play with it. And the other thing I noticed, if you're a reader that you like to sort of hand shuffle and have your cards pop out, you might not love this deck because they do tend to stick. So I just got 4 cards in a pop, where a lot of the decks, they are a little bit thicker and stockier than standard tarot cards. I don't know if you can, I don't think you can actually see the difference. Can we see the difference? No, I guess we can't. Oh, maybe kinda. But this is a much bigger card. This is a much smaller card. So if you're one that wants that shuffle, and for those single cards to pop out at you and make themselves known, this deck, you may find it problematic. That is my only complaint, because I do like to do that. I've just done it again, and I just got about 6 cards. So that happens sometimes with any deck, but with this one, it almost always happens. So that's my only negative, but that's more a preference of the style of the reader. I've just done it again, 3 cards. They really do stick if you're doing that kind of shuffle. So definitely a deck that I love. I would highly recommend it. Amazing quality for the price point. I'm actually quite surprised at the quality for the price point. I was expecting it to sort of be a cheaper quality, but no, it's actually quite durable. I am going to have a blast playing with it. And you definitely need to check out this deck. It's definitely one you want to have in your collection. And I know I'm a believer in you don't need 30 decks. You know, a reader can have 1 or 2. I've always had a few. I've never had a ton. But this is a deck that any reader could have because it can be your on-the-go deck. So it's not very often that I say you have to run out and buy a deck, but you have to run out and buy this deck. So Everyday Tarot, it is being promoted by Biddy Tarot, which is where I found it, but it is runningpress.com, and I love it. So enjoy, have some fun, and let me know in the comments how you felt about it when you actually got your hands on it and got to play with it. All right, take care, have a great day, and stay tuned for lots more videos, readings, and I will start doing some more unboxing reviews. Take care, bye-bye.